Well, I hope you're ready for this one, as it is set to be a certified banger. cha1n will be facing off versus Effortless, a rematch for bragging rights, essentially, at this point. Effortless, he said on Twitter that he's not happy about the shenanigans that occurred in Poland. He wants to face off versus cha1n here tonight, and he wants to beat him, Harry, to prove him wrong for what went down in Poland. Can he do it?
Can he? That is the big question. cha1n looked really good at the Stage 2 finals, but we want to see that progression from him further. We know he's got the capability to at least try and push himself further, but Effortless is looking to do the same thing. He's been grinding like no tomorrow, and that's exactly what we want to see. That's what you need to do to try and get any further at this stage. But as like I said before, with Effortless, you need to make sure you can do everything you can. He even said before that he doesn't want to be one of those players sitting around in a relegation zone constantly every season. He doesn't want to do that, which is totally understandable, and that's why he's been grinding to make sure he makes some kind of an impact in the NA scene. But what can he do? That is the real question. We'll have to see what he can do, but against someone like cha1n, I wouldn't even say it's a tall order. We'll have to see if practice has actually paid off for him.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything to go by on the quality of environment he's playing in, his desk's looking very lovely these days.
Did you see that? Yeah, you saw
He's got a really nice looking setup, so obviously he's been put his time into that. So hopefully that will allow him to practice in a much more relaxed, nice environment. Will it help him? We'll find out in tonight's game. But for cha1n, obviously a bit more of a known quantity in the sense we've seen him just getting better and better. He was the man that, really backhanded Cooler out of the event, which was a startling surprise to a lot of people. The fact that he lost out in the lower bracket to cha1n, the fact that cha1n was able to cause so much carnage on his run throughout Katowice. He comes back though, and unfortunately the same trend hasn't really continued. Struggling versus Dewey. What more is to come from cha1n? That is the question, right? I suppose we've seen what he can do, but where does this take him in the future?
Yeah, but it's just the main talking point now. Against Dewey, we know how defensive he is. So cha1n maybe struggles against defensive players. Maybe he struggles to try and calculate how he wants to try and push him and execute him. Because against defensive players like that, it's very hard, and it's just a massive nuisance, I'd probably say. But cha1n probably needs to figure things out here and there. He's probably watched that VOD back anyway. But I think this matchup suits his style more. So we'll probably see a lot more of cha1n on what he's actually capable of.
Yeah, hopefully so, right? It's obviously an environment where he does thrive a little bit more. It's also more of a domestic matchup in the sense he knows how to play against Effortless. They've done it in the past quite a lot. Obviously, same with Dewey, but for that stark contrast to play styles, it can be that little bit of a pebble that you're going to trip over and it will throw you off. You're just not quite ready for it. So hopefully, when we get into this, it will truly be that rematch we want to see.
Yeah, it's definitely a rematch of the ages, like you mentioned earlier. But what will cha1n do differently? Of course, the map picks might be slightly different. We'll have to see what happens. But Effortless, he has put a lot of practice in since then. Normally, when you come from a downslope from there, there's either two ways you can go about it. One, you go back and go, what more do I need to do? Like, how am I even going to progress? And it's those certain players where if they struggle to figure out what their next step is on their skill ceiling, then and they hit a brick wall, that's when there's going to be problems. But he's going to try and break through that, and hopefully he will.
Yeah, well, let's find out if the picks and bans will potentially affect that, as we do have the veto coming through. Well, a lot more of the same today. We've been getting a lot of very similar matchups. Strog versus Sorlag at the end there. We've got the Ranger versus a BJ. A little bit of Doom versus Galena. There's not been anything too outrageous, but alright, I'm into it.
I do like the smaller map pool, like, don't get me wrong, because the amount of action you see there is just ridiculous. But first map, Awoken, we know it's interesting because Effortless has chosen Awoken, but cha1n's actually pretty good at it. So I'm interested to see what Effortless has up his sleeve going for Corruptor Keep. Well, we saw what happened earlier with Razy. Can see if one of these players can at least dominate in some way. The question is, who will it be? Does have that BJ to back himself up on the side of cha1n. But Bloodrun, both these players with Strog and Sorlag. Now, it's going to be action-packed, and it's safe at least, but it depends how Effortless is going to approach it. Bloodrun, again, cha1n is quite good at it, but Effortless, I want to see what has changed. What has he done differently heading into this matchup? I'm very curious.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of potential fun moments sprinkled into this. It's also now the fact that you've got to take into consideration this is cha1n now at number 9 globally. I think probably new heights obviously for himself throughout the course of the league. It's the best position he's been in so far. If he does win this again, a matchup that he's been able to overthrow in the past versus Effortless, especially if you've got to take into consideration the likelihood of him somehow being able to 3-0 this, right? That could do so much for him. From rank 9, potentially, if he could try and find himself into the top 6 going in towards the halfway point of the season, that'd be miraculous. That'd be an absolute achievement.
not even it's just an achievement, it's just like it has a huge impact on the entire scene. We've seen Saigib do it, he's been improving slowly after each stage final, but now this is kind of change time. He wants to try and be the same guy to be one of the top North American players and prove himself, and he has done. Don't get me wrong, he could have gone a little bit further, but I think he was satisfied knowing that all the practice he's done has paid off, but the map picks is a little bit maybe more in cha1n's favour, I'd probably say, but then again Effortless may have changed things up, but cha1n has had a lot of scrims. He did play against Dewey at some stage, I feel like, and was actually winning. He was doing quite well. He's obviously worked out all the kinks that he needs to actually fix, but as it gets a defensive player, how will Effortless play? What's his play style going to be like going into this?
Yeah. I suppose that's, more of what we got to look at, right, is just obviously what is Effortless able to bring forward, because cha1n really, obviously from what we've had in the past, does seem to be the better man for the job when these two have had a bit of a bust up before. Can Effortless actually switch things up, and has he developed enough over the downtime we've had, obviously, over the course of the season, since Stage 2 finals till now? It's not really been that long. It's only been about 3 to 4 weeks, so the time for you to actually completely restructure yourself and change things, it's limited, but it's definitely been there.
Yeah, Effortless, like I said earlier, he doesn't want to be one of those people batting for relegation constantly. This is his time. He needs to start doing it early, or else there is going to be some problems. But we'll see if he can try and prove himself here in this first matchup against cha1n. As we can see there, Effortless gets the heavy straight off the bat, looking for the aggression, trying to peek him straight away, and my words, very good. But as we can see there, Effortless just try and goes for the flank round. Isn't going to be the case, but gets chased after anyway. Effortless got some great nails there, but is he going to finish him off? Yes, he does. Lovely rail to go for that first frag. And a little bit worried at one stage. cha1n was really going for that first frag and was chasing him down. I don't think Effortless expected it, but lucky he had that nail gun in hand.
Yeah, well, the Doomslayer has been slain instantly. So he's not going to be ripping and tearing for much longer. Already being punished as well, as his armor has been shattered there by Effortless to kick us back off into this one. This is a fantastic start for him. It just depends how long he can maintain this, or how much further he can build this lead. Back over by the rail room. Oh, he is playing this very sneakily.
I like it as well. I think he's realised that cha1n does actually struggle against defensive players and their playstyle, and it's slowly starting to show, As soon as he gets that first pick, he's going to go straight in. He's going to go for the chase. Anyway, will he get it? Yes, he does. Effortless, lovely. Really showing that practice. It is paying off. And it seems like he's been doing his research too.
Effortless. Going to drop that totem back down, so if you come too quickly through the teleporter and you're low HP, you'll have a fright as you get outside of it. You will be able to find that follow-up frag as well as cha1n goes down again, now putting us in a 3-0 position. This is a fantastic way to kick off the game.
Definitely. I didn't expect it to swing in the favour of Effortless so early on, but then again, it's just showing that all the work he's trying to do, but he misses the first one, managed to get the second, and surely he's going to get taken down. Yes, he does. cha1n gets a very fatal frag, but if he didn't miss that rail on the side of Effortless, it would have been 4-0 and would have been a bit of a plunder for cha1n here. But as we can see, he's going to try and push on. He's going to try and keep him at bay, but wow, one time to go up the lift. He managed to stay alive still, but surely he's going to get taken down. He doesn't at that stage, but look at the stack between both these players. And my word, Effortless somehow, some way comes out on top. That was beautiful.
4-1 already. A free frag advantage here for Effortless. He's just being able to smash his way through cha1n in a good majority of these fights. This is a great way to kick it off. He just needs to maintain this, as obviously it's still very early doors. Gets low HP, tries to fall back into a bit more of a cheeky angle there, drops the totem to get the heal off. Oh, timing. Goes down just before the Mega comes up, or it could have been an entirely different story. Now cha1n is set on a course for destruction.
Oh dear, it looked like cha1n was trying to get him in his head a little bit there, as you saw. Effortless trying to go for the aggression, trying to go for the trade. It wasn't to be. cha1n tried to go for sneaky rails, not the case, but my word, took a little bit of damage there. Needs to seriously be careful, but cha1n himself keeping a watchful eye on that teleporter to see what he can do, but it's going to jump back up top mid and manage to get that first rail. So what is it going to be his next move? Does get the Mega, so to speak, missing a couple of rails, but then again, he's kept him on his toes. He's kept him in a defensive position. This is a time to definitely push him forward, but will he get that heavy? He's going to try and stop him, and he manages to get it, and he will get the heavy to complement things further. My word.
Already tied up. Already. back into a position where cha1n's now going to be able to start to build a lead for himself as he's fired up, looking for some crispy early entry shots. Gets a nice bit of a tag off there on towards Effortless and strips him of his armor, leaving him on a little bit lower stack. And now starts the chase, looking to try and find him. Heavy's going to be up in 1 second as well, so ideally he just wants to hold this, then pick that back up. He'll have so much stack to play with now as he's in a great position. Is he going to get the actual opportunity to make the most of it? Another totem's going to go down. Effortless in close proximity, waiting for the Mega to be able to spawn in. cha1n picks it up during the fight and gets the kill, and it's now a 5-4 lead.
Yeah, you can see cha1n wanted to go for that, but he was worried about that lift jump. Effortless just barely managed to stay alive. But then again, so is cha1n, but it will stack up quite quick once again as he tries to push in, but the Heavy is up, and my words, Effortless been taken down once again. And cha1n gets another Heavy for himself, so he's going to go up the lift anyway just to see if he can take him down. Done a lot of LG damage. He's going to try and finish him off if he can. Yes, he will. The tides have definitely changed when he was definitely 4-1 up, but cha1n, what a comeback in the space of 2 minutes.
cha1n's crushing it right now, and the way he's returned to form so quickly. Oh, the point-blank unzoomed rail as well. Just going to be able to slap him in the face and really send him packing as he's gone once again. cha1n, he's looking deadly. Some of the shots he's hitting are really starting to get quite scary. Finally, a bit more of a response coming out from Effortless. You say that, but then cha1n starts to take control of the situation once again, Harry. This is scary.
That combo was ridiculous, and Effortless was lucky to get away with his life. But as I say, we'll be able to finish him off. No, he doesn't. The rocket in the rail. And how much health did Effortless have? And managed to finish him off through the teleport. That was nicely done.
Yeah, he got him low, he kept him low, and then finished him. There's the reply from the railgun coming out. It's a hefty hit that'll finally slay cha1n. LG coming to fruition as well here as he starts to zap him up and looks to slap him down. He will fall. A 9-6 scoreline. Effortless is trying to keep it close and competitive. He wants to get it back into potential favouring spot for himself. He's still got 4 minutes to play with here as well, and he's one totem away from the overstack. That's now available to him if he wants it, so this could really put him into a good spot.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's still got 3 totems up, especially on the Woken. That's not unheard of, but it's a real struggle. But he managed to take 1 down anyway, so just to trying to keep it low as much as possible. But as I say that, he walks into 1, and that's another frag for Effortless. I don't think he minds giving up a totem.
Oh no, you'd be very happy with that. A totem for a kill, definitely worth the trade. cha1n, lucky to even be breathing at this point. It won't take much but a little tickle from the LG to finally put him to rest. And now it's 1 kill difference. That's all it comes down to try and tie this up at 9-9 apiece.
Back and forth between both of these players. It looked like cha1n was running away with it, but Effortless has just been like, nope, I'm having absolutely none of it. I'm going to come back any way, shape or form, and he has done. There's only 1 frag between these 2 players, but Effortless has run out of rail, so he has to push him for those close combat battles here, but doesn't get the better end of it. And we'll let him go. He's going to get that light armor just to stack himself a little bit more. But what does he want to do here? He's trying to find out where cha1n is. Doesn't have a clue, but it will do once he realises. But he's got that top mid control once again. Effortless needs to really be careful. And he wants to go things. But as I say that, cha1n should go straight in forward with the LG. Can Effortless finish him off? Yes, he does. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that's crisp and critical to the success of him now. 9-9 as they're back. It's even Stevens. Where does it go from here as the fight is going to carry on? Needed a ring out, but instead it will just be the rocket kill as cha1n pushes himself to new heights, reaching 10 frags. 8 minutes, 2 minutes left to play with. And this could go anywhere from here. It's cha1n lower on stack, but he's instantly been able to equalize it. That rocket is so damaging, and he's still getting more off.
Both of these players are hitting absolutely everything. There's no stopping these 2. The aggression is absolutely real, but as I say, that he's going to push anywhere to try and get that last rocket, and they both trade with each other, meaning that cha1n will still have that 1 frag lead. But then again, my word, the rockets from cha1n. But then again, Effortless has had some great ones as well. We can't really keep these two apart. But then saying that, a minute and 20 left. Things, in terms of play style, will definitely change here.
Effortless. Backing off, playing towards the middle of the map. Wow, a snapshot of a rail and a sickeningly good follow-up as well. He's getting some really punishing shots off. That is free. Beaut. Oh, that is absolutely deadly. And now he's been able to tie it up as well. 11 frags apiece. He came to play tonight.
Third time lucky with that rail, and he managed to pull all three off. That was one way to definitely come back into it. And the things both these players have to do to frag each other is just been ridiculous. As we're saying, and Effortless is on the back foot, only so slightly, and he's got to try and work out how he wants to try and approach this. But at least he has, even though he hasn't got the stack, he does have that top mid control. But is actually looking to push in. He wants to try and contest that heavy, and he has done, but my word, it's going to be very close. The lift didn't really do him justice. Getting LG there, but has managed to get away once more. But he has to seriously be careful which route he wants to take to try and get his health back up, but it looks like he will be waiting, and maybe that OT.
Ooh. Snapshot from the rail, it will connect, but it's not going to matter. And in the end, it's going to be cha1n that closes it out just in the nick of time towards the end there. It's a 12-11 scoreline, and cha1n was finally able to snatch it away. Very close overall on the statistics, though. I mean, not actually that much difference between them, even control of the major items, the damage. It was all pretty tight. It was so back and forth. I think that's the closest matchup we could have asked for on Awoken.
Definitely. 58 damage between the two players. They were showing all the map presence in the world, and their aim was just both on point. Some of the rails were just silly. The defensive rockets from cha1n was just phenomenal. It's really hard to kind of tell these both apart. But I think at the stage where cha1n was up 8-4, I was like, okay, cha1n will either get carried away or Effortless will need to do something special. He showed something special, and it really could have gone either way. It's a shame for Effortless. I really feel like he'd done it justice and did such a good job making sure that he's just terrorizing him at this point, just contesting everything he can, and he did. But it just wasn't to be. He was way too weak. He wasn't really given much opportunity at the end to try and get his stack back up. And that's the whole point of Awoken. You know, cha1n knows how to abuse that and make sure he suffocates him as much as possible. So cha1n, that was still a great job from him.
Yeah. For Effortless, though, I mean, the new setup's definitely working out well for him. He looked comfortable. He looked absolutely amazing for a lot of the kills he was racking up. The rail work was beautiful as well. He did a really good performance here over on Awoken. And I think it's set a precedent that he definitely has turned up into this series looking to try and remedy his mistakes that were made in Poland. And that's definitely one way to start the series. 2 more maps to go as well, so by no means is this carnage over yet.
That was the totem kill we mentioned earlier. I think it was like 2, it might have been 1, might have been 2. I think it was just a 1 in the end. But either way, like I said, we'll take that trade any day of the week. But my word, if this is only the first map, imagine what these next 2 are going to be like between both these players. I said it earlier as well, cha1n isn't very comfortable with defensive players. He's just not really part of his neck of the woods. He doesn't really enjoy the fact that he's got to take more calculated risks to make the first mistake, or to force the first mistake, shall I say. But it seems like at the moment, it seems a lot better. It suits more his style. But yeah, rails like that was just, it was just mental.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. And for that to be the way the game was closed down as well, just seconds away from pushing it into a sudden death, obviously the confidence of cha1n working out. Effortless, I mean, probably frag of that match though. It's got to be the 3 rails, one after another. That was disgusting.
Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to rail sometimes, should you?
No. Him and Tox, and also Sparty earlier on today. All of these people should be banned from using the railgun. It's too much. It's too deadly.
Just play crop to keep every time.
Oh yeah. It's the only way to stop it. Madness though, over obviously they're on Awoken. For cha1n, at least he was able to claw it back in the end. Needs to be able to get as many points as physically possible. He's already in a great position, so obviously anything he gets extra here is just going to be a bonus to force himself up. And versus Effortless, it's one of those, this is a matchup that he needs to win, really, in the sense of obviously he can now afford to drop maps versus his harder opponents that are going to be in that sort of top 6 range. But when you're facing off someone that currently in terms of the standings is much lower down, you don't want to be conceding those points to him, right? So obviously this matchup is worth a lot for both of them. For Effortless, it's a huge talking point if he's able to beat out cha1n. For cha1n, it's more the fact that these points mean so much at this point in the league.
I think this is one of the most important matches for Effortless, because after how Nosfer played earlier and Xenoku, depending on how he plays for the next few weeks, it's going to be extremely difficult to decide what is, you know, the most important match for him. But as we say that, cha1n gets away nicely with that LG as he just tries to back off. But then again, Effortless got some nice shots in, as we saw there, and he's going to try and... So when the next move is directly above him, Maz get that light armor. Heather Mega is going to be, my word, just trying to back off as he sees fit. But so far so good. cha1n has got a reasonable stack, looking very healthy at this point, and will get the next Mega. So it's not looking too good for Effortless here, even though he's kept in cornered.
This is beautiful stuff coming through. He's already being able to chip away and get some punishing blows off. Slowing it down a little bit for now, though. Actually, it could start to turn all of a sudden here as they're battling back over towards the light armor. Heavy's going to be up in 2 seconds, and the rockets are raining down. Starting to cut his way through him with the LG. cha1n, how is he even still alive?
That Heavy was his saving grace here, as you saw. And my word, Effortless knows that really should have been in his favour. But it doesn't matter nonetheless. He's got his stack back up, but he's got to be really careful what he needs to do now. Effortless really putting the pressure on him here, and this could be the opportunity to try and get that first frag on the board. Both his players back off, but Effortless needs to be the one, needs to be careful. 14 HP left remaining, and that Heavy is up, but the Mega's not coming up for at least another 6 seconds, so he needs to try and delay things further, or else he's going to be in a heap of trouble. But as I say that, he's going to let him get all the items, and so far from what we've seen, it is cha1n's playground.
Oh, it is indeed. Already a much better stack to work with. He's in a nice position. Effortless, making noise on the bounce pad as he begins to back off. Look at the tag that he got off! Oh! How has it gone this wrong?
That was a real shame, but cha1n's stack was so huge. There was nothing really much he could have done it. But his rockets are still looking phenomenal, even without the LG in play for him. But he's trying to fight for that Mega. The Mega's there, but he's trying to take him down before he gets it. Not the case. Both done right in front of each other, but the first rocket doesn't go too well for Effortless, and he's just trying to stand back up, but cha1n's having none of it. He's going straight in, but still manages to take him down. That was beautiful.
My goodness. He does finish him in a beautiful fashion there as well, with a telefrag to take him down. That's definitely one way to get rid of that suicide. Bring yourself back into an equal game now to start to build from. As the lightning gun comes out to try and punish as well. Tickles cha1n ever so slightly there. Drops down to pick up the armor to rebuild himself a little bit so he can start to stack up. Sees him from a distance, but doesn't really have much to initiate with from that sort of range. Ooh, the rocket! Oh my goodness, the follow-up rocket's even more damaging. How is Effortless getting away with these shenanigans?
Both frags, he managed to get away with it. That is unheard of. And he's going to try and drop him down, but you can see he's got the BG and the LG. But my word, left on 16 HP. That was so close. But now, cha1n, what's he going to do next? Oh, as we said, Effortless trying to get a little bit of cheeky damage done from that range. Lovely rocket there. But even then, Effortless is after blood. He's trying to knuckle down and try and keep him at bay, but it won't be the case now as cha1n's on looking very good with the stack he has now.
Firing off those nails, hoping to get a little bit of a connection across. Effortless starting to fall into a weak position here in terms of his overall stack. cha1n definitely has a lot more fight left in him right now. Still 9 seconds until Heavy comes up. cha1n's actually going to pop that a little bit prematurely, it felt like. Just to try and get control of the light, maybe? And dive straight into a rocket? I don't know, that felt like an interesting way to play it, Harry.
Yeah, even though cha1n was at a disadvantage, he thought if he actually uses his active, then he can at least hope that Effortless assumes that he's behind him, or maybe he's already jumped up and he's going to jump up and try and get him. But he went for the bait. Effortless didn't actually go for it, he waited anyway. So I can understand what cha1n was trying to do, just trying to force out a situation which could end up being a stalemate, but it was still a stalemate. We couldn't really do anything anyway, but lovely LG work from Effortless. He's been looking phenomenal. Even though he lost that first map, is continuing on with the consistency going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's still being able to hit the shots as well as he was over on Awoken. He's in a great position to be able to dominate here if he can keep this up as well. We're 5 minutes in, and it would have been a 4-1 scoreline. Instead, it's now a 3-2 split as cha1n fights back on top of the statue and on top of the world, as he'll be happy after finding that frag. He does have his dual-wield back up as well, so if it comes down to it, he can whip it out. Not going to be able to now, though, as he's not even breathing. Effortless has finished him off. Nice use of the rockets to get himself across the map in a matter of seconds. Dives in, looking for the telefrag, but it's not going to work out, as instead he just gets fragged.
I love the risk which was taken there. It's just a shame for him. cha1n was ready for it at that time, but it's not really looking too good in terms of stack. Effortless gonna leave him for the time being. He knows he can maybe get control of that heavy, but decides to circle on anyway. But as I say about cha1n, perfect opportunity for him to get the LG, but lovely shotgun from that range.
cha1n, huge stack already built up here though. Off the back of being able to pick up the Mega, he's in a lovely little spot, so we can try and make this work to his advantage, but time's going to be slowly whittling away at that. 4 minutes left to work with, and Effortless tiptoeing around, diving out, starts to build up his as well, as he'll find these health bubbles and replenish his rockets. Now he gets contact of where cha1n is, but he is getting torn to pieces. cha1n, very, very precise there with a lightning gun.
Yeah, I think that one jump kind of kept him not as agile as he'd like to be, but it's rushing straight in with the rockets. But then again, Effortless is getting back a little bit, but he's got to be seriously careful with his stack, as cha1n is looking to get that next frag. He's really showing the aggression here. He's trying to do everything he can to keep Effortless on his toes. But what can Effortless do here? Might get a little bit of damage done, but then again, straight back at Effortless with those rockets, but gets another heavy. This is not looking good for Effortless. He needs to try and make a decision now exactly what he wants to do, but gets the Mega on top of things. My word, cha1n is stacked up to the eyeballs. But then again, Effortless is standing his ground, keeping out of range. But as I say that, cha1n needs to decide how he wants to do it. Be really aggressive or just try and walk up to him. But Effortless is not really giving him much room for error. He's doing a great job just making sure that even he's got a huge stack, just doing a little bit of damage and just keeping him back. He's putting himself in some very good spots. I love his movement.
Ooh. Barely grabs that heavy as they're going to fight back over towards it. cha1n instead opt to delve back over towards the statue and grab himself a Mega. Ooh, cycling through his weapons a little bit awkwardly there. Eventually gets to the HMG and is able to get a small tag off on towards Effortless as he goes out the door. It's 8 minutes, Harry, and he still needs to get another frag to be able to tie this one back up. Dual wield's back. So if they do fight, most likely that next big duel is going to happen here over control of the heavy. He should have the advantage, doesn't even need it, still gets the kill, slays Effortless once again, and now has both of the major items. This is setting up to be the cha1n show.
The speed is out of control now for cha1n. He doesn't actually care about certain scenarios, but he is being a bit methodical of how he should approach certain situations, which is exactly what Effortless needs to be careful with. But then again, Effortless not really put himself in a bad spot every single time. But as I say that, those two rockets, my word, you're not going to get that one out of that one, my friend. And as I say that, it goes for the LG, cleans them up again, a nice 2-frag lead. Probably one of the biggest leads we've seen so far in this map, with a minute and a half left remaining.
Well, now he's just slaughtering him. Oh, Effortless! How has he got this kill? And now, this really could turn things on its head. 60 seconds left, essentially, once we get to this 9-minute mark. And Effortless, he's got the Mega. He can try and get himself the heavy as well if he wants it. There's still 7 seconds. He's in close proximity. It's going to be coming up. Goes through the portal and looks to try and take the firefight first, at least to keep cha1n back and guarantee himself securing the heavy, which is going to work out very well for him. As he's fully committed towards this fight, he should be able to tie it here. Gets the Mega mid-fight, uses the Dire Orb, doesn't fully commit, instead just chases, and LG's cha1n down. Harry, it all comes down to one frag.
So many of these matches this evening have all been down to one frag or the smallest of mistakes, but I've been very impressed by Effortless and how he's played so far. He's always kept himself in a position where he can't get fragged if he's on low stack. And he's just making it hard for cha1n as he's being very aggressive. But as I say that, the LG from cha1n looking very good. But as I was saying that again, Effortless comes out on top with 15 seconds left remaining. What is Effortless going to do? How is he going to approach this? He's going to try and keep him at bay, but then again, BJ just managed to fall down, but he's gone back up again. He's only got 6 seconds. He can maybe run away if he wanted to, especially with that dire orb. Only 2 seconds. Is he going to be able to stay alive? It doesn't matter anyway, as he takes him down for the final frag. And my word, Effortless looked very good doing those final few minutes.
Yeah, wow. He really steps up to the mark there and absolutely just busted him to pieces. 9-7 scoreline, Effortless. It looked crazy close on Awoken, literally just down to the point of one frag, right? In a sense where Effortless almost seemed like he had control of the game for a lot of it. We get on to Keep now. Again, he just is able to somehow be able to slip up this level of dominance throughout most of it. cha1n, middle portion of the map, it seemed like everything had changed. It was cha1n now really in control, and then what? He closes it down with a 2 frag lead. Bizarre. Effortless has really come out playing some incredible Quake tonight.
The one play which changed everything was the fact that cha1n had a perfect amount of speed to push in and go for that Mega, but there was one rocket which didn't do so much damage, but just kept him trapped, shall we say, at one of the door frames. And then that was when you saw there was the fact that Effortless was able to capitalise, get the Mega, then managed to have the stack and then abuse it as much as he could. But it's just that Effortless's defense. It's very hard to keep a strong defense on Crux to Keep. It's very hard to just, try and stay out of bounds when you're in a very bad spot. But he was able to do that perfectly. So, for anyone who struggles on Crux to Keep in certain scenarios where you're weak and you're not too sure what your next move should be, watch Effortless. That was a prime example there.
Yeah. Effortless is absolutely dominating tonight in the sense of the way he's playing. He looked good in Awoken, looks even better on Keep, but how is he going to fare into our third and final matchup of the night for him here versus cha1n? Obviously, he's showing a lot of improvement. He's showing the fact that he's definitely in a good spot, and, he's living up to the tweet he made.
He definitely is, and I said that it was a rocket for the door frame. He bounced on his head and stopped him. It stopped him from his movement. It looked like a rocket because we were seeing it from cha1n's POV, but he actually bounced on his head to stop him. Was that intentional? I don't know. You guys at home can tell me, but yeah, it was definitely a play which changed completely.
Oh yeah, absolutely threw a spanner into the works, changed the outcome of the game there. Some really weird things coming through from Effortless, especially in the fact that he went 1 frag down at the start because he suicided. He was able to bring it back even from that point to win with a 2 frag lead in the end. Madness in really how close this matchup actually was as well.
It's just been carnage. It's only been one match today, was slightly slow, but every single one of them has just been ridiculous, which is what we wanted to see. But Effortless, we knew that in the past he played quite slow in certain paces of the game, but he's changed his style completely. This is actually quite interesting, but his defense is still very strong. I think that's what he's managed to keep. The aggression's there, the gun skill is there to complement it still, but his defense on parts of the map is clearly scrimmed and focuses on certain areas which he needs to improve on, and it's really showing now.
Oh yeah. Good improvement across the board, obviously, in the downtime from the season. He's worked on a lot of stuff, and that's reigning true, which is, it's a good spot to be in. The improvement's coming out. He's looking to go into this one to be able to take the series versus Effortless, versus cha1n. There is still potential for that. Obviously, it's 1-1. The third map, if he can try and push it and take a 2-1 series, that would be great. In the sense of points that he could take away from this, it's worth its weight in gold.
Definitely. I actually wanted to say, I think it was when Effortless was down 7-6. If he keeps playing the way he was playing, then at some stage he should take the game. But I'll be honest, I just didn't want to jinx him.
Didn't want to throw things off.
Nah, not really.
Well, here we go. It all comes down to this. Sorlag faces off versus the Strog and Pika. We're starting off with cha1n's POV over on the Sorlag. Let's see what this big girl can do.
We will see indeed, as cha1n hasn't got a rail yet, so he can't really do too much chip damage. We'll be looking those close quarter battles, but at this point doesn't really need it. Just holding that top mid control to find out where Effortless is going to go next, but does lose the advantage, but gets only just a little bit of damage with that LG, but he is waiting for that heavy. Will he go for it though? cha1n is waiting for the bait, has the peek in, knows he's still there. Didn't really need the peek of the info anyway. He knows he's bottom mid, he knows he's waiting for him to go across and he's going to get LG'd. But as I say that, what can he do here? He can't go for it. He needs to wait for cha1n to move, but cha1n's not going to move. He's still going to try and LG him, but as I say that, how on earth did he get away with it? I have no idea. Just a slim off health, probably about 10 HP. But then again, at least he managed to burn the heavy.
It's so lucky as well that he's actually been able to do that, because stack was, marginal at best. What remained, the confidence from Effortless, I guess, absolutely teaming to go for what was quite a risky play. At least that's one rotation just completely taken out, even though the stack isn't really going to ring true to that. cha1n, on the other hand, though, is starting to build himself quite a nice bit to work with. Effortless from the shadows appears behind cha1n, spooks him a little bit, but the scary thing is the fact that he's still so precise with his railgun there. Takes him down already, and it's 1-0. Looking for the second follow-up frag already if he's able to achieve it. And wow, all right, you've got what? 11 stack left, and you've still been able to just play that confidently to kill him.
He was lucky to gain that 10 HP when he was sitting near the portal. That was phenomenal, and he just wanted to make sure he can at least contain one rail shot. But the aggression from Effortless is still there. Might have to take one rail, but then again, he is taking the ticks of damage. What's he going to do? He managed to get the Mega in the end, but at what cost? Still railable, still waiting for that one opportunity, but it looks like he's waiting for Effortless to go for that light armor. Still knows he's there, but again, cha1n very heavily stacked.
cha1n starting to back off. Rebuild that arsenal a little bit, find the ammunition that he so dearly needs. Huge use of the rocket launcher here to punish, and that is Effortless going down, as already it's a 3-0. cha1n, more major item control being established. The Mega is going to be his quite happily. Ooh, he has really crumbled really quite quickly there. That's surprising considering the fact that his stack was in a good spot. Effortless on point with a nail gun.
Yeah, he hit every shot. I was quite surprised about that. It was... to say the least, even though he's going up the lift, it is a bit situational. But then again, at the same time, I was going to mention earlier that Effortless can't let this get out of hand. He hasn't. So he's in a little bit of control now. First proper control we've seen all game, apart from the start with the baiting of the heavy. But even then, he's going to see if he can try and rotate and get round him. Sadly misses that rail. I think he expected him to actually go towards the LG rather than for the rail. But does have that heavy. He has him trapped it. But the question is he actually going to go chasing down? Yes, he does. Surely will he go for the telly? Yes, he will. But my word, he was so weak. But even then, Effortless is going to try and get his stack back up and see if he can catch him off guard at another angle.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. He didn't really want to carry on with the push after he went through the teleporter because of the spit. Instead, backed off when it was so close to being a frag. Then this time around, it's a really pixel miss with a rail that could have been so impactful if he landed it. Now cha1n's allowed to actually just wander around, slowly start to build his stack back up again. Also get that cooldown back for his spit when it's needed. Whereas Effortless, he's got a bit of a better stack, sure, but unless he can find cha1n and punish him soon, cha1n will be able to negate everything he's already done.
Effortless is literally laughing right now with the map control he has. Not laughing about the scoreline, of course, but that could very well change as he knows exactly where he is now. Decides not to go for the bout. It was at a massive disadvantage, completely understandable. But it's like I mentioned before, most of these players, they love to hold that nail gun room. You can have the most audio cues possible to try and get away from an engagement, but as I say that, cha1n is trapped. Effortless is going to go straight in. And it's just a matter of time, really. How is cha1n going to get out of this one? Doesn't look like he will do. Will he manage to? No, he doesn't, but he's still waiting very patiently. Tries to finish him off the wood peaker, still doesn't, and finally takes him down with that LG. Definitely gave it hard work, but managed to get the frag in the end.
Yeah, literally in the last possible second there, able to find the head and tickle it down with the LG and leave him lifeless on the ground. Still needs one more frag to be able to tie it up, though. cha1n taking a lot of damage from Effortless here. Stacks pretty close. Effortless just getting a little bit more to play over as he continues on his warpath of stocking up on all of these extra bubbles. That's going to be Mega coming back through as well. He's now been able to pick that up. Uses the Pika to at least scout it out and try and see where cha1n is, who's now roaming back around. Lovely rocket jump execution, and that's both of the major items going the way of Effortless.
cha1n is literally trapped at this point. He can't move from the nail gun room. He's trying to figure out ways where he can try and contest certain items, but he just can't. At this point, Effortless isn't giving him any kind of opening or opportunity. The only way he can is if he gives up one of the items or messes up at disadvantage in some way in terms of height, but even then, Effortless is looking very clean. Nice rail hit from him. He's going to try and push in and try and finish him off. Lovely. That was a great rail from him. 2 rails which he desperately needed to tie things up.
Got the game back in a tight fashion. It's close and it's all to play for now with the way it carries on. Oh, dropping straight down. That's going to be so much damage done for the lightning gun. Luckily, Mega's up and he's able to replenish himself. Or this could have been absolutely horrendous. And there isn't that much time left as well. Around 3 minutes left once we get to the 7-minute mark. And then it's going to get worrying. Heavy's going to come back up really quite soon. He can afford to waste the time a little bit and then pick it up slightly later. Effortless, though, he does need that armor at some point here. When is he going to opt to go for it?
I don't think it's going to be for a while. I think, as you remember before, cha1n waited there for such a long time, and Effortless was literally, at some stage, took a while, but he ran out of patience, but does manage to get away. But as I say, but it's tragic for the telly and gets taken down. cha1n back with the 1 frag lead.
So instead, cha1n actually gets that heavy pickup, then gets the execution off to put down Effortless. So everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in that small space of time. Beautiful rail. Effortless really going to be worried with how this game is going so far. The nail spam starts to come out, hoping to connect that plasma and do a lot of damage back onto Effortless. There isn't much time left at all here, Harry, as well. So this could actually shape up again like what we've had between these two, where it's a 1 frag game between the difference.
It's got to a point now where Effortless knows cha1n's routine. He knows where he stands all the time at that kind of stage. So it's a kind of matter of how to collapse it. But with the audio cues, it's very difficult. Blood Run is one of those maps where if you've got a lead, it can be quite easy to get away at times depending on what kind of control you have on the map and where you're standing. But for now, though, cha1n needs to have a look around where he is, but gets caught off guard from the LG of Effortless down below. But does have that height advantage, but surely that should give him enough time and enough chance to get that heavy, which he does. Oh, and if cha1n hit that well, it could have been a different story. Still taking so much damage. Effortless, was he going to try and go for him and chase? Maybe not.
Effortless. He needs to push his agenda now. He's got to be the one that actually goes for these big entry plays. He's got to be the one swinging because he needs to get this next kill and needs to do it soon. 60 seconds going to be left here. cha1n doesn't have the best stack in the world. The light armor is going to help, but it's still only a marginal improvement. Heavy's back up. Mega's going to be coming up soon. Ooh.
Yeah, at this stage, he's just constantly staying near a telly so he can have the quick getaway, or he's staying in that nail gun room. At some stage, Effortless needs to collapse. But will cha1n give him the opportunity? There's not much damage on that rocket, so this could be Effortless's chance, but the stack is way too similar, and the defensive rockets of cha1n, maybe it's just a little bit too much with 30 seconds left remaining.
Well, that's the worry, is he won the game just off the back of that there. This could actually be him taking the series 2-1, literally just from hitting those few rockets when Effortless was attempting to go for quite an aggressive play, because it's knocked his confidence for 6. He's going to have about 10 seconds left soon, and he hasn't tried to initiate. He's not going for the fight, he's still just on the move.
That's it.
It's over.
Yeah, that was a real shame. cha1n used the same defensive strategy every single time. He was staying in the algo room to make sure he hears for the audio cues. As soon as he hears something, he'll rotate round. And then towards the end, he changed up a little bit. I think Effortless knew exactly what he's up against and what he's up to. Stand near the telly, get at least a railgun shot, at least some chip damage, go through, and then same thing again. He did it like 3 times in a row, but I think that's where Effortless just got a bit frustrated, got a bit fed up and gone, yeah. And then you saw at the end, got the rail shot off once more through the telly, and then Effortless was just like, I haven't got the stack anymore. If I go for the telly, that's it, it's done.
Yeah, and at that point you just couldn't take any risks, couldn't really chase, couldn't catch up with him. Obviously saw lag as well, just using that speed advantage, just be able to outdash his opponent and be able to roam so efficiently. That's rough. A very, very close series the whole way through. Each and every map had its moments where it seemed like the pendulum was swinging between Effortless walking away and cha1n walking away as the victors. In the end, though, cha1n does come out on top 2-1 in the series. Still, I think from what Effortless actually displayed here and what he put up, it shows that there's a lot of fight in him, and some of the stuff he was doing was absolutely incredible.
He's definitely progressed in a number of ways. I've seen from them that his aggression has definitely increased. His gun skill has improved dramatically. It's got all the bits to the puzzle. It's just, man, we're putting it all together, but cha1n is still looking strong. I was hoping he would also try and... I think it's both these players are trying to look for something to prove. Even though cha1n proved himself a little bit at Stage 2 Finals, he's still got more. And now that he's, had a taste of what it's like to beat so many great players at a LAN final, he feels like now, he could have the opportunity to try and push further. But then again, Effortless doing the same thing, but trying to stay away from that relegation zone.
Yeah, well, that's the one takeaway that obviously is what Effortless really wants from this, right? Is if he racks up those points, he can finally put himself just enough distance away from relegation so he doesn't have to fight his way through it. Next time around, obviously, if we get towards the Stage 3 finals, it will be potentially him having to try and fight for survival. Whereas for cha1n, the other aspect is if he could have 3-0'd this series, try to break in towards that upper echelons, right, top 5, top 4, where's the best placement he can end up with? That's obviously what's going to be going through his mind, because being inside that top 6, obviously, you're going to be pretty damn happy with that. You're going to want to try and get towards that position and stay there. A 3-0 of that point, of that caliber against an opponent like Effortless, that would have been a good way to farm those points, but not meant to be. You get the 2-1, still better than nothing.
Could have gone either way, really, between both his players. You could have said about a lot of the matchups here tonight. Could have gone easily either way by one frag here and there, and it's just such a real shame. Just that one moment through the telly and then got caught off guard. That's when I kind of knew. I was like, cha1n is just going to end up winning by one frag. I can just feel it.
Yeah. We do actually have a little picture of Effortless's setup as he's been ranting and raving about it over on Twitter, and I'll give it to him. It does look very nice. Obviously, look, he's got the 2 PCs there, Harry. He's got the little laptop in the middle as well. He's got the TV on the wall. 4 monitors for this madman. He's a busy boy.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bit disgusted, actually, because it makes mine look awful.
I know, yeah, it did the same to me. I was sat there and I was like, wow, I feel so inadequate.
He's probably got 3 VODs of, Rafa on, 3 different screens, and then he's playing himself, just mimicking what he sees.
That's actually what he 1v1s himself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he does a 4-way FFA?
Yeah. That's probably what it is. He plays Instagib, but just on 3 different PCs at the same time. It's crazy. He always wins. It doesn't matter. He always comes out on top. But yeah, it's a lovely looking build, to be fair. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I'll give him props to that. It's that's a win in my book, to be fair.
You might have lost the series, but you did win on the home DIY. You've done well.
I can't DIY at all.
More games coming up next, though, of course, as well. Let's have a look at what is coming up in the near future. Now, this one is going to be the CIS Storm. Cooler, of course, you know his game, you know how he approaches the game, you know what he's achieved, versus Base. He's been around for a while, but now he's really starting to get the respect he deserves, Harry. Top 3 over in Poland. His playstyle, people doubted him, people questioned him, some people don't like it, but I think people are finally starting to accept that he is around for the long haul.
This is one of the matches I've been looking forward to the most, apart from Avik kills and all that bits and pieces. This is definitely one to see, because Cooler is a massive nuisance when it comes to contesting power-ups. He challenges everything just to make sure he can get his own way. But Base, will he, with his defensive style, will he let him get away with a lot of the items? Will he, change his style a little bit? We know how Base plays. He wants you to make the first mistake, and it's just, it can be a bit of a pain, but does Cooler have an answer for it? That's the big question. And, if we didn't see a blood run between these two guys, I would have been gobsmacked.
Yeah, what's interesting, right, because obviously Cooler, a bit of a fall from grace. He's losing games more commonly than he used to. Is this going to be an entry point for Base? Someone that's getting more and more wind under his sails. We'll find out. We'll be stepping into that after the break. You will not want to miss it when we come back in to see who is the best Russian.